Hey, Shabes, and welcome to another expedition of the Anime Encyclopedia. A bit late. Because I had a very lovely Discord call with my patrons, where we rehearsed my panel for Anime Boston. Very excite-bike about that. Quite excite-bike. And I think that's like what I'm focusing on right now, and I'm trying to, I have some other work going on. So that's sort of what I'm doing. And then once the panel's done, like April 8th passes, and then I'll get into the video proper. I've already watched the show that I intend to talk about, and I got the footage. I also have the manga, like the raw, all the chapters downloaded. Not scanned because I don't want to support scanlations. Not that they're bad or anything. It's just if I'm gonna show it. I actually don't know if I'm gonna show the manga or not. I think I will. I kind of think I will, because this is an argument about this particular series where it's like, oh, the manga didn't have that shot. Oh, and it's like, yeah, and the shot that the manga went with is boring. It's a boring manga to read. I'm not even kidding you. I'm sorry. Like, it's a cute story. It's wholesome. It's great. Like, I like the base story. Don't get me wrong. But like, it's a web comic on fucking Pixiv. They're not gonna have the most brilliant like paneling or composition. It's functional. It's pure. And do you really want that shot in the anime? I don't think you do. It's really boring. Thank God this studio like actually amplified, like made it better not for no fucking reason, for like actual additive reason and value. Maybe not in a way you agree with, but like Sasuga manga fans, am I right? BGM's a little loud. You're right. Sorry. I'm not used to using Cold Steel. I'm using Cold Steel mix tonight because we're finishing. Finish, and I just kind of like using Cold Steel for like the home stretch. I just like as a little tradition that we've been accruing here. It was a good time. Really enjoyed it. Always a good time for Pat Labor 2 soundtrack. That's right, guys. Gustavo. Hell yeah. Let me get something other than... Well, I think it's fine having it here. Ooh. Like that, and... like that, and... like that. Kind of like... Can I... That's as much as I can go, huh? Okay. It's fine. Just doing some, stream interface nonsense. Let's see. Yeah! Alright. Orgas. Gosh. My main volume is at 8. And I can still very audibly hear it. Great. Damn, them speakers got hands. I have to change to a different, because I'm always paranoid. I always feel kind of weird and paranoid about it. I should also share that I'm streaming. Hey, I less hour work. Let's get it. Let's get this money. Let me be the one that you cling to. You know, now that we do these live, it's kind of hard to determine when we do these in-person articles. Well, not in-person. The main articles that the sections they have. You know, I don't know if you know. I think you know. Orgas. Okay. Hey, it's Shapes. Good to see you, Hugs. Again. Origin. Spirits of the past. Rary. I have Orcus on my watch list, but low priority right now. Fair. I don't know how low. I don't really have a priority for Orcus at the moment. I did put it in a quad at one point. Quads are what I used at one point as a way of watching things. I would watch 4 shows that are a similar length and a similar vibe, kind of some theming today, together, and watch those at the same time. But I kind of stopped that because it was a little cumbersome, a little demanding, but also a lot of times what would happen is there would be one sandbag entry where it's like, I'm not enjoying this as much as the others, and then that like amplifies the more I watch. Hello, Jeremy, again. DGKP. I only just discovered you started doing this again earlier today. I have a lot of content to catch up on. Yeah. Well, I'm happy you're here live. It's always the good feeling. Yeah. But yeah, all the VODs are still on that playlist. And if you're not familiar, DGKP, what we do now, what I do now, we collective, is I'm reading them in person. I'm not reading the entire encyclopedia out loud. I'm reading the ones that are interesting, like the notable entries, like One Piece, for example. But if if it's a title you've never heard of or it's kind of obscure, I'm just reading it to myself. And if there's anything interesting, I'll read it to you. And but we're kind of doing this in person, basically. And the goal is to finish the letter O, which is about not 62 entries, 30. Well, I don't actually know because it was less than 30 because we went a little over. Let's see how many entries we have to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 22. I'm not counting that one. 23, 24, 25, 6. 26. A mere 26 entries tonight. And heck, if it's like, if we got time and I feeling good, we can read their article on overseas distribution and piracy. Surely that will be a ruckus time. Just a banger. Orgas. Okay. I need to finish this seasons and then actually come back to my backlog of Purikua. How much Precure you got, Annaliso? I've only watched, will they mention torrenting? Probably. But I've only watched Heartcatch and the Heartcatch movie. That is all the Precure I've seen, but I intend to watch Vatariwa some point. I'm also interested in Hugto and Alamode. But maybe the first Sentai one, but maybe not. I don't know. Like, yeah, is it yes or go Precure or something? Go 5, I don't know. I'm doing seasonals that just wrapped up and then doing some Noitamina leftovers. Perhaps finally tackling AU Gundams before Witch wraps. Yeah. Which AUs you gotta watch? Which AUs are you interested in? I've only seen Turn A and half of IBO. Wasn't really Wasn't really poised to continue that one. But, and then, of course, Witch from Mercury is my other AU I've watched. Finished Blue Lock last night. Yeah, I mean, the fact that it's 2-core is encouraging to me to watch. At the same time, I can sense, well, I think they confirmed that they're doing a movie and a sequel. So, fuck it. I'll wait for it to be done like Haikyuu. Oh, rip Haikyuu, I guess. I wish next season wasn't packed for me. I haven't even looked. As a soccer fan, it was good. Strong B. Will they mention Torrenton? Let's go piracy. Only halfway through Futariwa. Discounting Hirogaru? Oh, you mean like the remake thing? Like, they tried to do more Precure, but like alternate universe or something, and it's like, what are you doing, guys? Like, just do something else. And thankfully they did. Origin Spirit of the Past is almost a great film, but the disconnected plot structure makes it a 6. Okay. Hello, Joel. Good to see you. Yeah, it was the first hentai one. Yes, was. Okay. Like, yes. I'll go back to Ala mode, but they piled on a lot. Yes, and they're getting 10-year epilogues. Oh, right. Okay, Origin. Spirits of the Past. Keiichi Sugiyama. That sounds familiar. I'm not going to get distracted. I'm reading it. Not much to say about this one. Gonzo chairman Shoji Murahama claimed that the theme was the importance of the physical concrete world as the one thing that can be trusted in our meaningless modern culture. As to how he thought this might be conveyed through the appearance of a volcano on legs, attacking the remnants of humanity and thwarted by... that seems like a spoiler to me. I feel like that could be a spoiler. Your guess is as good as ours. A little derisive of the plot, I think. But not really... They didn't really give their opinion, necessarily. I'd say it's dismissive in that regard. Because it's sort of like... No, I'm gonna write it as an odd choice. Not that all of this is gonna show up in the video anyway. I'm sort of... I can't think that way. Okay, Origin... Spirits of the Past. How he thought this might be conveyed. Your guess is as good as ours. So derisive. Like, give it. I mean, they've been thoughtful about other films. My next one for now are Revenger, Soonlee's, To Your Attorney, Tomo-chan, perhaps Uriseatsura. I'm not even familiar with Revenger or Soonlee's or Tomo-chan. Tomo-chan's a girl, right? Is that the show? Gee, thanks, Heidegger. Well, I have to go. Good to see you, Gustavo. I appreciate Tomo's voice case, even though almost none of the 4-coma pacing translated well. Voice cast. Tomo-chan's a girl is almost completely different product in the anime. They cut out 45% of the story so they could get to the end. Really? Omoshirei. I heard the same about, what was it? Horimiya. I heard the same thing about a Sing yesterday for me too. There's a couple examples of that, isn't there? Perhaps because there's this vibe of like, yeah, we're not getting a season 2. Well, you know, the manga's probably wrapping up. There wouldn't be anything to promote after that. They have their whole schedules listed out years in advance. It's like, okay, it's your turn. And, so I get it. I think it's fair to treat these series in a way that's like, you kind of have to give the audience its own experience. I don't think I guess they have this mindset of like, a lot of fans don't appreciate read the manga endings, right? So this is like but fans also don't like when you skip a lot of content. They just want everything. It's like it's unfortunate we're not in a industry that allows you to have the same production go 70 episodes. You could never have a Boys Over Flowers or Marmalade Boy today. No way. The most you could get is something prestigious, like Fruits Basket, which was planned in advance to have multiple seasons, but breaks over the course of the, same thing with Bleach, breaks. And I think it's because the industry is in its current state. But even with breaks, fucking several productions are delaying. It's a little yabe, if you ask me. Just enjoy what we got. And also, a whole ocean. A literal ocean of anime behind you. Go ahead. Go check it out. Even kabocha wine. Oh, yeah, especially kabocha wine. Kodacha, too. Is the Revengers the Irabochi show? Okay. Most of what would be there for Yonkama shenanigans. Ormi is getting another season adapting missing content. Surprising! I hope Fumigata gets to make another Safer Worth Mac manga because his character's fantastic. They already had the web novel adapted on top of the manga adapted in the anime, so lavish. I thought that would be more, kind of a bummer. Only the J-drama, not anime adaptation anymore. Toma had already ended long before the anime had aired, so I attribute this wanting to sell back. Yeah, that's fair. Making anime hard. It's always been hard. We need another bubble to have irresponsible venture capitalist funding. Yeah. Okay, Orphans of Sumatra. I thought that's in Siberia. The title being The Orphans of Siberia. It's like, whew. Wow. Oh! It's the second in the revived World Masterpiece Theater series. It's 52 episodes from 2008. And, it sounds interesting. They say it's a beautifully crafted series, chronicles their adventures, unfolding slowly as the pair travel across war-scarred Europe. Cool. I'm actually interested in that now. And that's a positive impression. So true, honestly. There's literally a galaxy of old anime to check out. Galaxy's a good word for it, too. Orphan. Scion of Sorcery. I've heard this is a strangely underground popular one, it seems. Like a lot of people were like really vouch for this one, so let me read it. Growing up in an orphanage after losing his parents at a very young age, Orphan and his two adopted elder sisters, Azalea and Letitia, are selected to study sorcery under the famous Child Man at the Tower of Fang. Okay. At age 15, Orphan becomes a sorcerer to the royal family, but his life is plunged into new difficulties when one of Azalea's spells backfires, transforming her into a monster. Aww. Even though he has fallen in love with Azalea, Childman is honor-bound to hunt down the beast that she has become, and Orphan decides to stop him. Based on a series of over a dozen fantasy novels by Yoshinobu Akita, the Orphan TV series began in media res, with our hero already a powerful wizard training a young boy called Majiku. As with Berserk, the majority of the story is told in flashback, as Orphan is threatened by the return of the demon dragon Bloody August, only to reveal that... I'm not going to say it. Oh, okay. Damn. Sharing much of the crew of the earlier Slayers, Orphan fortunately lacks much of its predecessor's comedy. Orphan fortunately lacks a lot of its predecessor's comedy. Sheesh. Opting instead for hardcore fantasy adventure. However, despite a rocking opening from pop group Sharon Q, much of the background music sounds like computer game filler music. Orphan the Revenge is simply the title for the second season. A game based on the series was the first incarnation to reach the US, preceding the anime version by several months. Okay. I'd say that was positive. I'd say because the big however. It's kind of they give two pretty even-handed comments. Fortunately, isn't funny like Slayers. I think that's basically what they said. Orphan fortunately, sharing much of the crew of the earlier Slayers, Orphan fortunately lacks much of the predecessor's comedy. BGM is computer sounds like. Very cool. And yeah, they do spoil Orphan. Skipping content has always been more common with movie adaptations. They can work, though on the other hand, they can wreck pacing and continuity. Sometimes skipping content's fine, but other times you end up with Promised Neverland 2. That was the author's choice. I always, you know... Apparently it was. I guess there's some... I couldn't tell you why they would lie about that, but it's sort of like... that needs to be called a little bit... That needs to be taken with a grain of salt. Like the second half of the Blue Turbo movie. If you've never seen Orphan, watch the original show, then stop the remakes. Ruin the tone and cinematography. Oh. Wait. There's 2 seasons. So you're saying The Revenge is a remake? The remake? So The Revenge from 1999 is a remake? Because they say Orphan the Revenge is simply the title for the second season. If that's the case, let me know. I'll write that down. That's not correct. They need to do it like an RE4 remake adaptation that replaces it with better scenes, fitting Slayer's comedy. It isn't funny. That didn't stop Stephen Foster from trying when he handled the first half for ADV. Oh, that's funny. Studio Dean did a remake. Oh, recently. How recent? Interesting. Orphan. Majutsushi Orphan. Gotcha. So then there's Revenge. And then, yeah, in 2020, huh? Stabber Orphan. Sorceress Stabber Orphan. And then there's the special, which looks like crap. And there's a second season in winter 2021 of the remake. But then those two combined, wait a minute. Winter 2023. This literally just aired. The third season of this literally just aired. Omoshirei. Revenge is the second season of an original show. It's not very good. I would stop at the first season. Okay. Fair enough. Ah, this is a good one. Orurane, the cat player. You guys ever see this? Hell yeah. An out-of-work musician mooching around the streets just before Christmas befriends a cat who is fond of good wine. The cat, Irunado, is one of a feline trio owned by Orurane, a mysterious man who can play cats as if they were musical instruments. Our hero, always on the lookout for another string to his bow, decides he wants to learn cat playing for himself. This surreal curio was based on the first novel written by successful writer Baku Yumemakura, who also created Amon Saga and Battle Royale High School. Damn! Hello, Oscar. Good to see you. Orurane, let's go. Yeah, they don't say much about it, but okay. Man, a non sequitur of recent additions to like a decade-old series. I gotta get on Fafner. Faf! Okay, fellas, here's an article for you. What do they got to say about our boy? He's not our boy. He's one of the boys of all time. I remember watching that. It was really charming. Yeah, right? Oh, Orurane's so much fun. Born in Tokyo's Ota district, Oshii graduated from the education department of Tokyo Gakuge University, where he experimented with his own movie making while still a student. With a passionate interest in film, he once claimed to have watched 1,000 movies in a single year. He joined the Tatsunoko studio and debuted as an animator on One Hit Kanta. Moving to Studio Pierrot, later just Pierrot, in 1980, he met Yoshitaka Amano and Kazunori Ito, who would become frequent collaborators with him on his landmark works of the 80s and 90s. Work as a storyboarder and episode director on Urusei Yatsura. He directed the show, didn't he? Wait a second. Am I high? What do they credit on Urusei Yatsura? Hold on. What do they credit on Urusei Yatsura? Director Mamoru Oshii, Keiji Hayakawa, Tameo Ogawa, Kazuo Yamazaki, Satoshi Dazai. Like, they named several fucking episode directors. Okay. Jeez. Yeah. At least according to Nan. Oshii is chief director for the first 106 episodes, and he handed it off to Yamazaki. And then yes, he did do storyboarding for 22 episodes and episode director for 26. That's interesting. There are several that he did that he didn't do the storyboard for. That's strange, though. Not a big deal, though. And secured him the chance to direct the Urusei Yatsura movie, Only You. His next Urusei Yatsura movie, Beautiful Dreamer, was the first of many Oshii projects to divide critics with surreal imagery and unfocused plotting. He directed Dallos, the first anime made for home video, before going freelance. After Angel's Egg and an abortive association with Hayao Miyazaki and Isao Takahata, whose views on plot and filmmaking seemed ever to clash with Oshii's, he began his association with the Headgear Collective, which would eventually collaborate on Patlabor. Patleba. Oshii also did a series of live-action experiments, including The Red Spectacles and Stray Dog, which would form the background to Jinro, for which he wrote the script. He achieved wider recognition with the superb Patleba movies in the early 1990s, leading directly to his commission to direct Ghost in the Shell, for which he pioneered techniques in integrating cell and digital animation. wholly disagree about Ghost in the Shell being pretty important for integrating cell and digital animation. At the same time, I could have sworn, at least Patlabor 1, he was already doing that. I can't think of particular shots in 2 where it was, yeah, I can kind of, like the opening scene of Patlabor 2, he was kind of already doing that. I don't really know if it was Ghost in the Shell in particular. It's certainly a certain high-profile example, but I find that claim a little bit dubious. I feel like he'd already been doing that on the Patlabor movies. Oshii's work is characterized by more realistic characters, an aversion to the bright, flat colors of most anime. Again, I mean, because I'm trying to think, because I'm thinking, an aversion to the bright, flat colors of most anime. Flat? Flat colors? I don't necessarily know about that. Bright I can understand. I can certainly understand that with Gitz in the Patlabor movies. Even though 1 I think has plenty of normal brightness in it. 2 is a very overcast movie. It is a very dim, overcast movie for sure. And then yeah, Angel's Egg is very shadowy, but like, okay. But my main thing is I'm thinking of Gosenso-sama Banbanzai. I've not seen it yet. I don't know why I haven't yet, but like, I don't know. That one can be shadowy. From what I've seen of it, it can be kind of shadowy, I guess. But this is just I don't know, strange. Sorry, I'm gonna catch up on chat. It's scary because Fafner's scary because it's a tight continuity and dense as heck. Probably best to watch it now in one go, to be honest. Every time a new Fafner comes out, I found I couldn't remember enough of the last one and had to restart all over again. That's fair. That's it. Is DGKB? Do you know if Fafner is like done? Because if so, then that would give me incentive to check it out. But if it's just gonna keep going, then it's sort of like, because I don't want to run into what you're saying. Damn, that's a big ask for my backlog. I want to at least go back to Kamen Rider Blade. Man, I'm booked. Yeah. Wasn't Ghost in the Shell the first Digipaint anime? No. I'm pretty sure Gets 1 is not Digipaint. Oh, I don't think so. That's interesting, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't. I could be wrong. Some of the earliest ones that I know of are from Toei. Like 1996 for Gegege no Kitaro. I'm actually, now that I think about it, I didn't even consider this. I think the OP for Gegege is Cell. So maybe I haven't watched the 90s iteration yet, but there might be something about it started as Cell and then at some point switched to Digipaint. I don't know. But you wouldn't hear the end of it if that was the case about Ghost in the Shell. I don't think that's the case. By flat colors, they mean a less of an emphasis on shading and stuff. Sure. Like Kagenashi. Yeah. Onihei has flat colors, and I don't see anyone celebrating that as a feudal police officer. Yeah, I know about Onihei. I've seen it. Gosenso-sama has a high contrast colors and lighting. Fafner seems like a series that's done until years later. They had another movie. Damn! I think Fafner's probably done, but every time I think that, suddenly announces a new one, so... Oh, it's one of those. That's a shame. Maybe sometime. I do like his design. I do like that guy's designs. I like Revias a lot, so... Let's see. And an obsession with recreating reality, even down to its mistakes and imperfections, through lens flares, focus pulls, and other trickery. Owing to the number of his theatrical features released during anime's diaspora abroad, Owing to the number of his theatrical features released during anime's diaspora. What the hell is diaspora? The dispersion or spread of a people from their original homeland. Okay. Oshii has become one of the most recognizable directors in the medium. Despite a relatively low output in recent years comparable to that of Katsuhiro Otomo. His recent work has included the Polish-language live-action Avalon, the Ghost in the Shell sequel Innocence, and aerial combat anime Skycrawlers. His basset hound Gabriel appears in cameo roles in many of his films. Yeah, pretty serviceable, fine article on him. Nothing too crazy or noteworthy. I thought Sunrise purchasing Zebek would have killed it, but there's been content since. Kasenso-sama is the most unconventional anime I've seen. It goes hard. Yeah, I don't know when I'll watch it. I gotta make like a short list of stuff I want to watch over the summer that I will not watch, that I'll go on to just not watch. I know it, because I'm busy and tired. Wow, for the first time I heard that somebody likes Hisashi Hirai character designs. I like them. I don't know if I would like them, after a certain point. Because I haven't seen Seed, and I haven't seen Fafnir, and I haven't seen S. Cryad. And the thing that I like about Revius is something that I think he ends up kind of losing with those shows, from what I've seen of them. It's that, despite having a very distinct style, he avoids same face. I could tell the different characters apart, and they're really appealing, and they have interesting variety and nuance to them. I don't know if I can really say the same thing about Seed or Fafnir. Like those designs, man, it's sort of like, okay, everyone looks exactly the same. The men, the women, they all look the same. Nothing's gonna have worse same face for me though as Horomusko, Wandering Sun Horomusko. Nothing. You could tell me everybody there was in the same family or twins or something, and I would believe you. And the only reason I could distinguish the characters from each other is just because of how good the writing is. I hate to be like, oh my good writing, but like the characterization and like distinguishing the characters and their different roles in the story it was really important. But it was not on any merit by the designs. God, they all look the same. Hirai's good outside of Seed, to be honest. Escry designs are a lot of fun. They do seem like fun. They do seem like they have actual variety to them. Seed designs look good when I was browsing my new types. Scryed is the pre-Maihime with gay cyborg boys. Seed is a show that melts. Better I start with double O's. Ocean. 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 Oceans. Oh, I've read this. Wait a minute. I've read this. Hold on. Hold on. Chotto matte denne. I'm gonna just control S ocean in the insight, the thing that I've written. Oh. Nope. Less salacious readers and input informed the successful Ocean. I guess because Ocean was based on letters sent to a Wigman's magazine, maybe because the live-action series is what was successful and not so much the anime. Because they cut this line from a particular article, I guess. Shinori. Ocean. Eiichi Yamamoto Sugino. Oh, really? Oh, yeah, titles I'm now interested in. I did write down Ocean. Weird. I don't know why I guess I read it at some point. Let me just double check. Yeah, they kind of just describe it, but yeah, okay. But it did sound interesting based on the plotting. Same face is a pretty bad problem in early 2000s anime. One of the few things I agree with when I call that golden age. Yeah. So is the latest edition from 2015. Them describing Oshi's filmic direction makes me wonder if Naoki Yamada has an article. I doubt she has an article, but let's see. It was Yamada's first time. Yamada, her first name is never relevant. Let me look up Naoko Yamada. 2 results. Only when they list her as the director of K-On! And Tamako Market. That's it. Because, yeah, Silent Voice hadn't come out yet, Your Name hadn't come out yet, and, yeah. Yeah. So, no, she doesn't have an article. Alright. Osumatsu-kun. Osumatsu, Kazumatsu, Karamatsu, Choromatsu, Toromatsu, Jushimatsu are 6 identical brothers who are continually making trouble in their town, chasing after the fishmonger's daughter, Totoko, and harassing the local snob, Francophile Iami. Based on the manga Mochona Sunday by Fujio, who created Genius Idiot, Tensei Bakuban. Osumatsu-kun was derided by the Japanese PTA as one of the worst programs ever made, and was consequently very popular with children, compared to the modern-day excesses of the similarly criticized Crayon Shin-chan. The issue, supposedly, was that the home-centered adventures presented far more opportunities for inimitable violence and dangerous situations than more fantastical shows, as the sextuplets clambered out of high windows, rummaged in knife drawers, and played with matches. It was remade in 1988 by Studio Pierrot into 86 episodes, retaining its former popularity and soon gaining a 20% audience rating. That's all I say about it. Yeah, they give the PTA's opinion, but not theirs, so that's about it. That's about it. See ya. I think most of Yamada's movie career was post-2015, only K-On! And Tamako before that. No Liz and Bluebird. Yeah, of course not. Though I'd seen Clements interview her on stage before, so he was certainly aware. Yeah. Yeah, he's aware by now. I'm sure in the anime history that he'll be sure to mention both Shinkai and her. Otaku no Video! This fan-favorite fantasy by the Gainax Studio, which would produce Wings of Honomies and Evangelion, is wry and affectionate, self-parody, and wish fulfillment. Inspired by events from the team's own real-life history, it recounts the story of one ordinary young man's efforts to follow the way of the true fan, or otaku. He loses his girl, his social standing, and his business. His story is counterpoint by a series of spoof live-action interviews with fandom personalities such as a cell thief, a costume freak, and a pornography junkie. In the second video, merged with the first for Western release, our hero, his devotion, undimmed by age, identity, and failure, triumphs over the sordid cynicism of the world through the purity of the fanboy spirit, aspiring to become the Ota King. An English translation by Shin Kurokawa and the Leidu Yoshida team, plus Animego's excellent liner notes, provide a wonderful snapshot of an era of fandom and allows us to laugh with and cry for the true otaku. Pretty good article. Pretty good article there. Osamatsu's great. I really need to finish the second season. Osamatsu-san? I appreciated the production, but eventually it just wasn't for me. I got tired of it pretty quick. I did give both seasons a good, but I got exhausted after a while. But at the same time, I was watching it seasonally, weekly, and I don't think I liked that grind necessarily. That one wasn't too bad, just an overview. Yeah. That's a lot of them. That's a good majority of them. But the reason we read all of it is for the ones you know of. A little contempt for the synopsis here, which I get. I can certainly understand. Especially, no, it's not even a fucking hentai. It's not a hentai. It's a VN. There's a 12 plus episode TV series, 3 episode OVA. Mizuho's dying grandfather wants his grandson to graduate from an all-girls private school because his mother was educated there. Mizuho dutifully cross-dresses with the help of 2 female friends and enters the school, where he rapidly becomes a much-loved friend and big sister to a horde of girls who firmly believe him to be a girl. You, the viewer, are supposed to find this charming and quirky and to enjoy seeing the endearing interactions between these unsuspecting girls and our harem hero. Could have cut that part out. Can you let the reader, interpret it for themselves and make their own informed decisions? Do you really have to be snide like that? A single video subtitled a parody of the Cinderella story was followed in 2012. A 3-part story in which another boy, Mizuho's cousin, Chihaya, transfers to the same school at his mother's insistence. Chihaya's mother is sending him to the school to avoid his being bullied and hit on by guys. Once again, one of the girls knows his secret and keeps it, and he quickly becomes a much-loved older sister and role model for the younger girls. The series is based on a porn video game by Caramel Box with the porn removed. That means it's not a porn game! The series is based on a porn video game by Caramel Box with the porn removed. Unfortunately, it's not been replaced by, say, a plot, interesting characters, or good art. Instead, it's an amalgam of the girls' school tripe offered up in so many other places, and already very stale. like, I don't know if they're being judgmental about the premise, or again, it's about the execution, right? It has to be about the execution. If you're gonna judge a series by its premise or by a first impression, which, don't get me wrong, is important, but if that's what you're gonna judge it by and be representative of this whole book, granted, it's like, I don't even know this series. It's not like a super popular thing. But that, if anything, that makes it important. But my point I was about to make, and then it's like, it's a stupid point to make. It's pedantic. But the fact that, like, this show is not very well known, so how many people are going to read this article at all? Who's going to read this article? People who like this show, right? They want to know what you want to say about it. And that's what you have to say about it. Not like you ever link this series to anything else. You'll never know. You'll never link them back to this article. Which season of Osamatsu is the Obama scene? I don't remember. Yawning looks like someone needs some coffee. I don't drink coffee, Drax. The reason is I came from this from presenting my panel for Anime Boston. I was practicing with my patrons, so I was talking pretty consistently for like an hour before this stream, and now I'm still going. People are still mistaking eroge and nakige. Oh no, transphobia suddenly. I think they mean it's an eroge that had its pornographic elements removed from the anime. The series is based on a pornic video game by Karmabex with the porn removed. I think you're right. That's probably a good assessment, Hayden. This is going into We Hate Slice of Life territory again. I imagine lots of eroge adaptations are like that. I know Fate had sex with its VN. Oh yeah. Oh, I'm positive this is the case for a lot of VNs for sure. Technically, yeah, but it's all in tone and like every part of the VN trend was going from eroge into more story-based. See Clannad and Fate's Day Night. Fate had bad sex, worse sex. The Hollow Ataraxia had rimming and unironically better erotica writing. I've never found the premise important to me, to the point I don't read synopses. Neither do I, for the most part. The shows that I choose to watch, I usually have a very good understanding of them going into it. Maybe not the premise, but reception, people who made it, and direction and tone and genre. But like the particulars, the way the synopsis is going usually doesn't do it for me. Anyway, pretty negative. They had good marketing and PR consistent with audience expectation. Yeah, I used the same approach as you. Apparently I had that Otoboko show in my plan to watch already. Seems to have a decent score on Mal at least. Yeah? Yeah. Okay. I'm planning to watch Otoboko too. I've never seen it. I never even heard of it. So Otogi Zoshi. I always say Otogi Zoshi the way Roger says it. I don't know. There's certain I don't know where I got it from. I don't know if it's from his videos or whatever. But just the way he says, like, cuz it's from 2004. You know how it be. Um but just the way he says, like, Otogi Zoshi. It's it's so iconic, dude. I don't know what to tell you. It's so cool. It just endears me. Um to him and the show. I don't know. It's Kino. It's probably buried in bookmarks when I was on my Otokonoko phase. It's his AD 972, with the capital Kyoto falling. Of course, I'm going to read a Togi Zoshi. Falling into a mire of corruption and sleaze, and both samurai and priests only looking after their own interests. I just realized I have not been checking the first edition, but I don't think we've read anything old. We'll see. Let me finish a Togi Zoshi. It's from 2004. It's not in here. And both samurai and priests only looking after their own interests, the imperial court sends champion archer samurai Minamoto no Raiko on a mission to find the Magatama, a legendary gem, see Blue Seed, reputed to contain the power to bring peace. When he succumbs to disease, his 17-year-old sister Hikaru has to step in to save the family honor and the capital, much as other girls took on men's roles in Kaido Maru and Yotoden. The story and characters of the first half of the series are loosely based on actual events. Minamoto really was a famous hero of old Kyoto who slew the demon Shutendoji. His four real-life retainers, known as the Shitenno of four kings, after the heavenly guardians of Buddhist mythology, all turn up in the anime to help Hikaru on her quest. And Abe no Seimei, one of Hikaru's advisors, really was a renowned priest and scholar and appears in numerous other anime and manga, as well as the Onmyoji movie series. The link to reality gets stronger from episode 14 when the action moves to present-day Tokyo for a series of standalone episodes linked to local history and mythology in the style of Doomed Megalopolis. In a bizarre mythic retelling of the boarding house stories of Maison Ikoku, Hikaru is recast as a teenage landlady, while many other cast members are reincarnated as some of her strange tenants, most notably Suna, a writer on occult subjects. Many anime feature modern incarnations of ancient warriors, but none spend several hours beforehand explaining who was who. Consequently, Otogi Zoshi has the ancient resonances of Suikoden, Karas, or Iki Tosen, but much less of the confusion of those shows. We have already grown to love these characters in the opening half, making our emotional investment in them considerably stronger. If it is remembered for nothing else, Otogi Zoshi will go down in history as a story with a truly unexpected change in direction compared to Full Metal Alchemist. Do you mean like the ending? Okay. Which puts the rehashes of more of the same of lesser shows to shame. In uniting ancient and modern so firmly and inextricably, it also plays into the urban mythologies made more famous by Spirited Away and Pompoko. The last two episodes were broadcast separately from the rest, more than 2 months after episode 24, and consequently are classified as TV specials. Otogi Zoshi is based on a real story scroll, a 17th century collection of myths and folktales, some of which predate their written versions by several hundred years. The Comic Blade manga spin-off series is not the first modern version. Novelist Osamu Dazai rewrote some of the stories for his 1945 compilation released in English as Crackling Mountain and Other Stories. Interesting. I liked that. That got me interested. Good article. Among 2,200 other things. Probably recorded it. Alright, heading out to Friday Night Magic. Have fun, Annaliso. Give that a positive. just check if there's any first editions I have to go through. Oh, Orphans. Yeah, hold on. No change. And for Orani, the cat player. Okay. Ocean. They may have added something to Ocean, actually. No, they didn't. I was not good. Nope, no change. No change. Alright. So there's a series Otohime Connection, which I don't see in the first edition, even though it's from 1991. Oh, okay. Page 32. I don't see it. I think they might. I have to look closer. I have to kind of like look and read for it, but like they might mention it. Oh, here. Creator of Otohime Connection. Which they bold, but they don't have their own article for. I don't think. The only mention is in page 32. They bold it, but they don't have their own article on it. That's interesting. So, that's a new one. Okay, just a 45-minute thing really quick. So that was Otohime Connection, so this is now Otome Dory. porn. Okay, Katsuhiro Otomo. What do they got to say about this dude? Born in Miyagi Prefecture, Otomo failed to get into the art college of his choice and went to Tokyo after finishing high school in 1973, where he began selling comics professionally to Manga Action. Let me get something to drink. Like many young manga artists, he found occasional work as a commercial designer and on anime, notably as a designer on Rintaro's Harmageddon, which he did not enjoy. That's news to me. Interesting how he seems to credit Harmageddon for Akira, but he did not seem to enjoy being a designer on it. I guess that duality can happen, but that's still news to me. However, Otomo's realistic art style was enough to get him promoted off the shop floor and into direction, and he subsequently became one of the prodigies selected for the anthology movies Robot Carnival and Neo Tokyo. His true claim to fame, however, is his own adaptation of his landmark Akira. Yeah. Yeah. Both of those came out a year before Akira. A notorious perfectionist, Otomo's creative control caused the production to run far over budget, although its subsequent foreign success has made him one of the poster boys of Japanese animation, particularly with foreign fans. However, in Japan, he retreated from the anime world, making a live-action low-budget movie of his own, World Apartment Horror, in 1990, and restricting himself to minor roles on a select few films, scripting duties on Rojin Sea and Metropolis, a co-directing credit on Memories. Didn't he assemble, like, he's kind of the reason Memories is like his thing? A co-directing credit on Memories? I'm pretty sure it's more than that, isn't it? Am I wrong? And the nebulous supervising role on Spriggan. It was only with Steam Boy that Otomo returned to full-length anime feature directing over 15 years after his most famous success. He was subsequently hired to direct a live-action version of Mushishi. Just got here. Japanese wiki says Otomo did enjoy working on Genma Tyson, which encouraged him to make Akira. Okay. It's kind of a weird narrative, I think. But I'll write down that discrepancy there. He chose all the staff and the stories are based on his manga. Ah! Magnetic Rose from Memories is based on one of Otomo's manga in the first place. Did I miss any other hot takes? No, just another, like, dig on porn games, I guess. But that's kind of the most colorful they've been. Otaku no Video was a perfectly fine article. Origin was a fine article. Mamoru Oshii was a fine article. By the way, scripting duties on Rojan Z and Metropolis are not minor roles. Yeah, they're not the fucking director, but like, you're the script writer. That is kind of important. Weird narrative they got on the Tomo, to be honest with you. Messages. A little rude on stream, but you know. Oh. I'm happy he got an article. Yatsuo Otsuka. See what they gotta say about him. Born in Shimane Prefecture, he went to Tokyo in 1951 to seek a career as a political cartoonist. Joining Toei Animation in 1957, he worked on A Journey to the West anime and Little Prince and the Eight-Headed Dragon as a concept artist, before becoming a key animator on Little Norse Prince, where he was a mentor to Isao Takahata and Hayao Miyazaki. He left the company in 1969 and worked for A-Pro, now Shinei Doga, Nippon Animation, and Telecom. He remained a prominent key animator on works including The Moomins and Lupin III, but refused to direct, citing Takahata's disillusionment on Little Norse Prince. Although own his experiences on Tengri the Boy of the Steppes cannot have helped. You mean they say own his experiences, although his own experiences on Tengri the Boy of the Steppes cannot be helped. Is Tengri the thing I am familiar with? It's like a short? No. There's something that he was involved with that I think Miyazaki directed that was like a short that was like really interesting. Oh, is this BGM from Pat Labor 2? Yeah. This is a playlist called Cold Steel. However, in a training capacity, he became one of the guiding lights of Studio Ghibli. The studio honored him in 2004 with a documentary, Yasuo Otsuka's Joy of Animating. As the author of several insider memoirs of the anime business, he is also one of the main documentary sources for Japan's animation history, particularly of the 1960s and 70s. Yeah, good article. I'm happy. That's a good documentary too. Joy of Animating, very good doc. Our Homes, Fox, DT. From 2008. How? Did I just not, like... I don't know if I just don't pay attention sometimes. I just come on. I just want to, like... I just want to read this, right? And it just comes out of nowhere for me. Noboru and his younger brother, Toru, are lured back to their ancestral home by their grandmother. They learn for the first time that their late mother was the clan priestess. And although Noboru is now head of the clan in her place, Toru has inherited her powers, making him the target for a horde of dark spirits. The brothers are assigned a clan bodyguard, a magic-wielding priestess named Ko, and given the help of the clan's powerful guardian deity, fox spirit Kugen, Ku for short, is not only extremely cute, but seems to bear no grudges for having been sealed inside a rock until needed. So the brothers move Ko and Ku into their household. So far, so harem. But then things get interesting. What? I feel like it didn't occur to me for a second that it was a harem. It's two brothers, and then they get a guard, who's a girl, and a guardian deity seems to be sealed inside a rock until I did not. Let me read this again. Help of the clan's powerful guardian deity, fox spirit Kugen. Kugen, Ku for short, is not only extremely cute, but seems to bear no grudges for having been sealed inside a rock until needed. Is she feminine? Is the spirit feminine coded? I couldn't tell based on your description. Why do you have to suddenly snidely claim so far, so harem? Could you not get out of your own way? Please. Fucking hate boners for this shit. But then things get more interesting. Ku can switch genders at will and is completely uninterested in romance. Yeah, I mean, it's a spirit. You didn't specify a gender. You didn't even specify that anyone would have the hots for anybody. It's not part of the premise. Does that make it a harem? Come on. And the household the boys move their supernatural pals into isn't a typical adult-free home, but one with a real family already in place. Noboru and Toru love their father, and he loves them. He's also easygoing enough to accommodate a nervous, unworldly kid like Ko, and a temperamental drama junkie like Ku. The animation is sometimes poor, with the action scenes getting so much of the budget that other movement is at times unconvincing. But the design is pretty. The humor is light and not especially clever, and the plot isn't complex. The violence is minimal, and so is the fan service. A single bath scene, and a few lingerie-type shots, and tasteless but harmless jokes. The whole thing is just sweet. It proves that you can take the boy out of the harem and focus on the other relationships in his life, the ones that really matter: parents, brothers, friends, people he likes and trusts and respects. This series isn't long enough to accommodate all the characters and situations from Jin Shibamura's original book series, first published in 2004, but it presents the story charmingly. Anywhere did you think that was a harem? Or did you just fucking assume? Look, good on them for liking the show at least. Time and time again, dude, this shit. Yeah. Look, okay, yeah. You see, fellas, two girls a harem does not make. There's some more. Okay. Hey, look at that. But there's a guy, there's his brother in that too. See, that definitely makes it look like more like a harem, but there's two guys. They're just looking to complain about anything at this point. Adventure, fantasy, supernatural, magical, sex shift. Hey, Archeon recommended it. Sorry, I realized I didn't even fucking show on the fucking screen. I'm an idiot, sorry. You just see it, and it's like, oh, wait, two girls. Two girls. Two girls. Oh, there's a couple more. There you go. Yeah, there you go. Okay, okay. Again, 2 guys, right? I wouldn't have gotten that from the description. Exactly! It's ridiculous! I'd assumed it was a harem, but that's only because I remember the key art. I'm pretty sure they looked at the key art too and were like, harem. Like, come on, dude. Sorry. Reading chat. Anywho. So I get distracted sometimes. Okay. I mean, that's positive. Ridiculous, man. Okay. Here's hoping. I don't remember if I've read this article or not. I don't remember. Haruhi is a student at an exclusive high school. She got a scholarship, so she's obviously bright, but her family are so poor she can't even afford a uniform. She just doesn't fit into this moneyed, unfriendly world. One day, she accidentally stumbles upon one of the school's more unusual after-school societies, a host club where 6 rich and handsome guys play at being bar fodder for customers who want to be distracted and amused. When she breaks a valuable vase, the club's vice president suggests she works off the cost. If she becomes a host... I mean, wait a minute. No, wait a minute. I hate to, actually, though. It's not a big point. I'm pretty sure Tamaki's the one that suggests it. As the club president. I don't know if Kyoya's the one. Kyoya definitely points out how expensive the vase is, and the twins do that too, but I could have sworn Tamaki's the one that's like, well, you know, as the Romans do, you shall become our dog. You know? If she becomes a host and attracts 100 regular clients, that will wipe out the debt. Yes, I think the 100 clients thing was the vice president's idea. I believe that's the case. Yes. But the wording is just weird. They'll even get her a decent uniform. The only catch is that they haven't realized she's a girl, and by the time they do, she's such a hit with the club's clientele that they decide to keep up the charade. As time goes on, fast friendships are forged, and everybody realizes that money can't buy you love. Aww. Everybody tells me so. Goat Club. Yeah, Kyotso, yeah. Yeah, it's one of my favorite anime. I think it's still in my top 10. Hanging in there. It was knocked down at one point, but it's still in there. I rewatched it. Bisca Hattori's 2003 manga had a long and successful run, 18 collected volumes in 7 years, turning into a media franchise with a live-action movie and TV series, a mobile phone drama, and the usual torrent of merchandise. The anime series has the great good sense not to outstay its welcome. It's an insubstantial cockle shell, full of froth and bubble, something both Shakespeare and Noel Coward would have recognized and felt quite at home with. A pleasant after-dinner diversion, like a visit to a host club or a drag cabaret. With some... What a weird compliment. I mean, it's a compliment, but like... Huh? With some of the creative team from Utena on board. Say his name! Say his name! Takuya Igarashi! He deserves to have the same fucking name recognition as Junichi Sato and Kunihiko Ikuhara. He deserves that. He was there, bro. He fucking deserves that. Not just for this anime, for Ojimanja Doremi, Star Driver, Futari wa Precure, Ashita no Naja. He was Toei's ace. Soul Eater? I'm pretty sure he was Soul Eater, right? Am I wrong? Am I wrong if he's the Soul Eater director? Hold on. I could be wrong about that. Wait a second. I'm pretty sure I'm not, though. Nope, director. Igarashi. He was one of Toei's, like, MVPs. And then he moves on to be one of Bones' MVPs. Come on, man. Come on, man. It's no surprise that maybe not just Utena. Okay, let's do due diligence here and no news. Let's do some due diligence here, okay? Where are you at? What do you got? You got a bunch of key animators. You do have an episode director from Utena on storyboard here. Got a storyboard there. Key animation storyboard. Takuya Igarashi's the main dude. Key animation, opening key animation, voices, key animation, key editing. Shingo Kaneko. There you go. Series comp, Yoji and Okido. That is pretty significant. In-betweener, key animation. Really two guys. Mainly Takuya Igarashi. But also, and Okido. Oh, yeah. He's on with Bungo with Takuya Igarashi as well. Captain Earth. Script for Fooly Cooly. Melody of Oblivion series comp. Wow. Oh, that's his baby. Script for all of Oran as well. Wow. Script for 20 episodes of Utena, but that's still a lot, including the movie. And yeah, he met up with him on Sailor Moon. Wow, series comp and script for Star Driver as well. He's just kind of a ride or die with Igarashi, because Igarashi did Star Driver as well, and the movie. I just find it very annoying a little disingenuous. Not disingenuous, but just like reductive. Wait, it's insubstantial, but also comparable to Shakespeare? Soul Eater, yes, but don't think he was on Precure though. I might be. He's I might be, because I know he did. Wait a minute. No, I think he is. Hold on. I want to bet. I'm gonna put. I don't want to put money on it. But yeah, okay. Daisuke Nishio. Sorry, yeah, gotcha. Yeah, so Igarashi did do episode directors for Futariwa, as well as Shigeyasu Yamauchi, but it's Daisuke Nishio. My bad. The Padario guy, the Dragon Ball guy, Dragon Ball Z. I know multiple people worked on Z though. Kindaichi, Airmaster, and Futariwa. Yeah. Cool. Anyway, it's no surprise that the design and color palette are exquisitely overdone. See, we literally just went over the comparisons of the two studios, right? Of the two shows. None of them are art. It was key animators, the series comp, and the director. So they were kind of misplacing some things. It's no surprise some of the creative team of Utena on board. It's no surprise that the design and color palette are exquisitely overdone, packed with visual nudges and winks, and all in the best possible taste. The liberal use of parody saves the show from Utena's tendency to portentousness. Nothing is serious, everything is postmodern, the fourth wall exists only to be demolished, and tropes and cliches are worn with knowing pride. This is absolutely not a series to watch for its emotional significance and character development. I would watch it for that. I don't know what they're fucking smoking. Did they watch episode 1? Or something? Like, what are they talking about? I go coming from a fan. Look at, yeah, I'm a fanboy. It's my top 10. Sure. It knows that. But I actually don't know how many people would have this opinion about Oron. I really don't. It's not that buried. The characters develop. I don't know what to tell you. It knows that, and it isn't ashamed, although this confidence was not reflected in foreign sales. In the UK, it was one of the worst-selling anime on record. And it ends there. What the fuck? What a weird article, man. Of course. What do you say to that? Were they positive? But like, I don't think they get it. Huh? And I was thinking about it, like, you have a potential montage of all the weird takes they have, right? Am I cherry picking? I read the whole thing. I could give you all of their, like, yes, agreeable, positive, or, like, maybe even negative takes that you agree with. But, like, I don't know how many of them would save the ones that are really fucking weird. You know? Or they're just like, what the hell does that mean? I don't know how much they can make up for that. Anecdotal, but I think the lead time on the UK release for Oron was so long that everyone I knew who was interested in it had already imported the US release by then. Interesting. Very cool. Very, very cool. Jeez. Yeah, what the hell? Okay. I mean, positive. Um... No, I have a very strong feeling about it being mixed because it's such a backhanded, like, the way they talk about this. Insubstantial cockle shell full of froth. Something both Shakespeare and Noel Coward would have recognized and felt quite at home with. A pleasant after dinner diversion, like a visit to a host club or a drag cabaret. Nothing is serious. Everything is post-modern. Not a series to watch for its emotional significance and character development. I'm not sure if I'd call it unsuccessful in the US by any metric. No, that's the thing. Published by Stonebridge Press in Berkeley, California. Printed in the United States of America. Why? What are they doing? It's so confusing. moving on. Outbreak Company. Rejected by his childhood friend when he tries to become her boyfriend, Shinichi Kano loses himself in fandom, living a listless life as a consumer of anime, manga, and games. He is then fortunate indeed to discover that there is a job that only he can do, functioning as a cultural ambassador to a parallel universe, where the Japanese government hopes to offload vanished products and other items from Earth. The Eldon Empire is a generic fantasy realm, with its own political problems, intrigues, and social ills, including slavery, plunging Shinichi into a heady combination of culture shock and fanboy glee. In 2005, the Japanese Prime Minister Taro Aso began the opening gambit of a long-term effort to push cool Japan at the rest of the world, and to recognize Japanese intellectual property, particularly cultural items like films and anime, as major exports. Not all these initiatives worked out, and some manifested as little more than pseudo-manga competitions at Japanese embassies and the occasional martial arts demonstration. Others have spearheaded Japanese culture into many foreign territories and presumably inspired Ichiro Sakaki to write the 7-volume book series on which this anime is based. Like the protagonist of El Hazard, Shinichi exults in being able to experience a fantasy realm for real, but also comes to appreciate the many comforts of home that he once ignored. His blinkered but enthusiastic grapplings with an alien creature reflect many aspects of the Japanese overseas experience, as well as the underlying absurdity of real-world soft power initiatives. Taro Aso wanted to make Japan rich by selling us anime like this, an idea that is both ridiculous and strangely endearing. I guess positive. Okay. Outlanders. Positive. Let me just double check the new edition. Okay. Outlaw Star. Hajime Yadate, Sunrise's name for its in-house idea machine, and Takahiko Ito from Angel Links, adapted an alternate future from Ito's 1988 Space Hero Tales manga for the late-night slot on TV Tokyo. A loose and unstable galactic alliance is trying to bring order to the chaos of the expanding space frontier. Hot Ice Hilda is on the wrong side of the law, on the run, in disguise, and in search of a fabulous treasure when she runs across Gene Starwind, a Han Solo wannabe running a rather sleazy jack-of-all-trades business with his 11-year-old brother, Jim Hawking, who is definitely the brains of the outfit. Gene's career is severely hampered by space phobia. As a child, he watched his father die in space, and by a weird coincidence, he thinks one of the gangs chasing Hilda is responsible. Hilda hires the duo to help her with a nebulous repair job, but before long they've gotten aboard a hidden prototype ship and its cybernetically engineered living navigation computer, a cute girl named Melfina. Yeah, I knew they would spoil it. I knew they would fucking spoil it, dude. This is episode 3. And it's a spoiler. I knew they would do this. The Outlaw Star and Melfina are targets for every powerful group in the galaxy. It's widely believed that, aside from the value of the ship itself, it contains clues that will lead to the fabled treasure known as galactic ley line. As they struggle to survive, they run into comic tropes like Suzuka, a deadly Japanese assassin who's so friendly she joins the crew, and Aisha, a cat girl who does likewise. The writers rely on such tropes to liven up a plot whose guidance is mostly inertial. Arms mounted on the grappler ships turn space combat into something more like a mechanized wrestling match, and while there are some good flashes of humor like the over-the-top opening narrations, this is no competition for Cowboy Bebop in terms of style, content, or execution. It does not matter. You can watch both and enjoy both. When screened on the Cartoon Network, the anime was edited for nudity, violence, gambling, drinking, and lechery because those things don't happen in America. Cannot believe it. Come on, dude. Apparently it fucking was, because I always hear this in the same breath as Cowboy Bebop. Yeah, it's not as nearly as popular as Bebop, but that should not fucking matter to me. I had a lot of fun with Outlaw Star. I remember watching it ages ago. I think I watched this after Trigun. Nice, yeah. I've always thought of it in a similar headspace with Trigun as well, because they're all from '98, right? Yeah. Yeah, Outlaw Star and Bebop, I think, ran the same season, actually. I think I could be wrong about that. Let me see. January 9th. Wait a minute. I think April 1998. Bebop aired one season later. I hate the argument of it's not good because this other show's better. If you have this attitude, you'll never enjoy anything. Yeah. 100%. Or you'll just very quickly move on to something else. And they're fucking, like, all of these things that they do is part, and like, spreading this is part of the reason, I would assume, why the shelf life of an anime fan is 18 to 24 months. Maybe it's other things. Maybe there's other reasons. But, like, I'd love to kind of have more insight into their journeys as anime fans. You know, what prompted them into joining New Type and Manga UK, where, you know, I would assume that kind of develops a kind of a lifelong relationship with anime, if not a bit of a broken marriage. Because I can understand getting cynical if that's all you think about. Although it couldn't be me. Because it is a lot of, like, maybe 70-80% of what I think about now. And maybe that makes me shallow or small-minded or biased. But like, oh god, watch The Sopranos, then you won't look at anime the same way or something. No, it's really all a matter of the attitude you have, my guy. I can enjoy The Wire and Tenshi ni Naruman. I can, in fact, do that. In fairness, One True Stories was an adaptation of a pretty old visual novel that was fairly big at the time. So a lot of things copied it. And then it ends up being the one that's degraded as like unoriginal, even though it kind of like a lot of things copied it, and then that's the one that seems derivative to us. And then interesting. So yeah, spoilers for Outlaw Star, and then dismissive of Outlaw Star. Nothing else. Out. Well, actually, it is in this book, so let me just double check. Okay, Outside the Law from 1969 doesn't seem to have an entry here. Let me just double check the back. Don't think so. No. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Okay. Like a business type of show. Just like the guy gets in a lot of like, it's like an educational type of thing. I know the Jake Hunter series is a similar issue in the West. People think it's an Ace Attorney ripoff, but it predates the series by decades. Overdrive from 2007. 15-year-old Mikoto has a routine life and is bullied. It's a cycling manga, cycling series, 26 episodes. Oh. Good. Okay, that's a positive. have read this one on stream before, so I'll try to be quick about it. Heyo. Hello, Kato. It's good to see you. Congrats on your. You guys are real active lately, huh? You're killing it. Ugh. Oh, fuck. I'm almost done, actually. That's it. Not to scare any new blood in the chat or anything. I'm just finishing up O. The letter O. I just wrote about Overman King Gainer. I read this on stream last time, so that's why I haven't been as complaining or talkative recently. Oh, hi, Secret Enemy Studio. Hey, I'm gonna listen while driving to my parents' place. Sorry I missed the mock panel thing. I had other stuff going on and it slipped my mind. Hey, don't swear that I'll die. I actually recorded both presentations, the scripted and unscripted. I think both are valuable and interesting, but, you know, either one. And I'll probably throw them up after the, like a day, I don't know when. At some point for patrons. Maybe, you know, with some time passed so it's fresh for some people. Yeah. But that's what yeah, I get it. Hey, but you know, how many more articles do I have to read? I have Oyo, my huggable cat, Oz, Masayuki Ozeki, and Ozma. Just those 4. We're just over 2 hours, so. How did the second one go? Pretty good. I was unscripted, and there was more people that showed up. I did extend the discussion time to 90 seconds, and I think that was very beneficial. I first personally felt a little rushed about my section, but at the same time, I don't really want to be a slave to my script. So maybe I do a balance of both. I really don't know. I like consistency, so I really would have to choose one or the other. And I at the very least, I feel confident that I can do the panel without a script. And it's effective for the most part. But, yeah. Oh. Yeah, you know what? Let me read these 4 articles here, and then we'll end the stream on their essay about overseas distribution and piracy. Oyo, my huggable cat. See, that's another weird comparison thing of like of anime one-upping each other. Like, come on. Glad my feedback was useful. Yeah. Okay, Oz. For reasons known only to the distributor, the Oz soundtrack was released in the UK, though the anime has never been translated. Let's see if they say that. That remains as of 2015, apparently. Yeah, okay. No change. Masayuki Ozeki. And that's it for first edition, by the way. That was all of the articles. Whoopsie, sorry. Okay. Oh. The directorial debut was the Lupin movie from A Conspiracy. Okay. Ozma. When Leiji Matsumoto dreams, he dreams big, and the roots of his dreams go far outside anime. Here his passion for World War II, huge submerged ships, impossible odds, motorbikes, and willowy blondes merge with another take on Moby Dick to create a world that's at once familiar and intriguing. Familiar because Matsumoto, a fan of Osamu Tezuka's work from early childhood, has followed his mentor in using the same character set in the same role for decades. Intriguing because the premise of a world with great red oceans of sand through which ships and creatures swim is beautiful. But this is too big a dream for the time available. It's a 6-episode OVA. Directed by Ryosuke Takahashi. I didn't know Ryosuke Takahashi directed a Leiji Matsumoto thing. Matsumoto's characters are primarily archetypes running along predictable tracks. But even those tracks are truncated because there isn't time to develop anything. The plot has little time or space to expand into the epic it could have been, with a couple of nice plot twists underplayed and no room to play with the political, ecological, and evolutionary subtexts. Apparently the script was 30 years in the making, one of Matsumoto's long-shelved projects finally brought to fruition. Chief director Takahashi is one of the legends of robot anime, renowned for real robot shows like Votoms. Writer Takegami provided the story for the complex, intriguing Birth. I gotta add that to the actual expedition of the Encyclopedia. Birth. Clicks link for Birth doesn't take you to the Birth article. Birth of Japan. Right, hold on. So where does Birth take you? It takes you to fucking Birth of Japan! That's right, because they fucking named this fucking... They named Birth OVA as something fucking else. And then idiots. Planet Busters. They listed as fucking Planet Busters in the Encyclopedia. I'm not even there yet. I'm on P. That's in P. I'm on O. No shit. Okay, hold on. I just have to make sure I have this somewhere. Okay. Intriguing. But with far too much plot and far too many ideas to cram into the time they have, it's 6 episodes! It's not like a full fucking 12-episode show, but it's not a movie. This remains Matsumoto's shorthand series. All his big ideas, themes, and characters are scribbled down, every corner is stuffed, and there's no room to do anything much with any of it. If only there had been another 20 episodes, we might have had another Captain Harlock. I don't know if you would have. Because Captain Harlock is partly episodic. It's not fucking Yamato, which is like, but even the original Yamato is like slightly episodic. It's a serial. I don't know. Well, because they're episodes? No, like, I wouldn't call, I don't know, fucking, whatever. If that Oz from before was the 1986 Wizard of Oz show, no, it's an OV. It's like this weird sci-fi thing. I could have sworn that actually aired on UK TV, and I can find a few internet sources that agree. Hello, Shays, my counselor. How are you? Why do I friends move away? Why do our friends flake on us? Well, your friends are very likely, if human. You know, if you know. If I don't know if you would really say like, oh, why would you flake on me to your friend that's a dog or something, right? Because, you know, pets can be friends, right? I don't want to deny that, but it's sort of like you would never blame the pet for flaking on you. So I'm sorry to take it super seriously, but why do they flake on you? Each of us are living our lives, and sometimes we fall short. They're fallible. And being a friend, you know, I do think there is a point eventually where it's like, it's not friends. Being a friend is reciprocal. And if they always flake on you, then then it ends up being like, okay, and you kind of drift apart. But sometimes you drift apart from friends that you didn't even have anything that negative towards or beef to. You just ended up growing apart, pursuing different things, and because you're in a certain environment that you became friends in, say college or some other your job or whatever, and when that, you know, those things are finite, they're temporary. So eventually, you know, they move on to different things, and you don't see them again. But you know, they're their own people. So yeah, why do friends move away? It's sort of time. You move away too, sometimes. Okay, I've never seen this Oz OVA before. Weird. Yeah, it's from. Let me look it up. Sorry to distract like big, but yeah, I'd say like I like seeing from the other side. Take stock in how much. I'm not saying it's your fault, but like, you know, think about sometimes when you might have fallen short, and you kind of be like, you know, I'm not a perfect person either, but I'm going to try my best and keep trying to reach out to them, keep in touch, and it's life. If it doesn't happen, I think. I hate to boil it down to that, but yeah. At least that's what I'm trying to say to myself. Copium. Yeah, it's this here. Oz. 1992, yeah. Mixed feelings. Recommended. Early Madhouse OVA, huh? 2-episode OVA, yeah. Loosely based on Wizard of Oz. Yeah. Okay, so let's say let's say Ozma was mixed for them. I wonder about that. どうかな? Can't wait for Core to cover it in the next 1992 video. Ripperoonie. I think he's having a really good time with the Western stuff. Let him have fun. He's earned it. He's earned the success too. They all have. Okay. I don't know how long this will take, but we'll see. I don't really think I've been making any real notes about these articles necessarily, but thanks, Shaves. Yeah. Sorry, you know what's so funny is that I completely forgot that your first comment was, "My counselor, how are you?" And then I gave you a counselor type answer. At least I think I did, but you know, take with it if you will. Okay, let's see what they got. Although there was some international contact among filmmakers in the early days of anime, Japanese animation made its first major steps abroad after the Second World War. Toei Animation became involved at an early stage as part of the long-term company policy to make movies suitable for the export market. Its first feature film, Panda the Magic Serpent, was a prize winner in the 1959 Venice Film Festival. It was followed by Tezuka's first feature, Alakazam the Great, with a dubbed version that had great longevity. Television anime began its export drive early with New Adventures of Pinocchio, made in Japan for American clients in 1961. That was the stop-motion thing that I think Rankin Bass was involved with. I could be wrong. Yes. Rankin Bass studio history, 10.5-hour road movie. Really interesting. It's the first stop-motion deal struck between the American animators and the Japanese animator, Tadahito Mochinaga. That's something I really want to look into. Because it was the blueprint. It really was like, this is possible. We can actually do this. Which is so interesting. Seen him animating his own shorts and it's great. I like his videos a lot, but I'm glad he's doing the animation stuff because it's so cool. Yeah. Made in Japan for American, and Astro Boy screened in America mere months after its Japanese premiere in 1963. Few American viewers realized they were watching a Japanese show, and were indeed encouraged not to, through censorship and localization. Several more anime series were sold to US TV in the 1960s. 8-Man, Gigantor, Prince Planet, which is... what series is that? Prince Planet is Kaizoku Oji. Marine Boy, Kimba the White Lion, Speed Racer, and The Amazing 3. Many were also screened in other English-speaking territories, such as Australia and South Africa. Although, of all these early TV translations, only Marine Boy made it to Britain. The same period saw Japanese animators from the Topcraft studio and others working on American cartoons for Rankin Bass. The 1970s saw only 2 major US screenings of openly Japanese works. But Star Blazers and Battle of the Planets achieved something new, winning fans in high schools and colleges all over the country. Anime enjoyed similar paths to success in Europe. French TV screened children's series from the early 1970s, some of which later reappeared in North America or on French-speaking channels in Canada. Kimba the White Lion aired in 1972 as Le Roi Deo, that's French, with Princess Knight shown 2 years later, alongside Italian-Japanese co-production Calamero. Movies were also screened on television and theatrically, starting with the 1969 Puss in Boots in 1978. But the major event in French anime history was the screening of Grandizer in 1978. Summer Vacation was considered a wasteland for children's programming in France. But by the time the schools reopened in September, Go Nagai's Robot Show was a word-of-mouth hit. Believed by some critics to have secured an audience share approaching 100%, since only children were presumed to be watching at that time of day. The series is still selling strongly today. Toei found it necessary to issue writs against WRITS issue writs against pirate Goldorak DVD releases across French-speaking Europe in 2004. Goldorak was a part of an anime viewing schedule, which is Grandizer. Goldorak/Grandizer. Goldorak was part of an anime viewing schedule which consisted of, for the most part, of retold fairy tales and innocuous series. Candy Candy made her French debut just 2 months after Nagai's epic, but was followed in 1979 by Captain Harlock on Antenne 2 and Battle of the Planets on TF1, which is Gatchaman. Meanwhile, Goldorak was dubbed into Spanish as Goldrake and into Arabic as Grandizer. Go Nagai's giant robot shows became a staple of Spanish TV and created a strong demand for preteen and teenage animated shows, while in Italy, they were so successful that Nagai set up an Italian company, Dynamic Italia, to manage his work there. In 1979, Spectre Man became the first Japanese live-action show to hit French television, with Haim Saban and Shuki Levi on the crew list. 15 years later, they would launch the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Following on from Calamero, French studio Deke collaborated on Ulysses 31 and Mysterious Cities of Gold. Nippon Animation's co-production with Spain's BRB International, Around the World in 80 Days, was shown in both France and Spain. The same studio's co-production with Apollo Films, Alice in Wonderland, was screened in Europe in 1985, as was the French release of the Topcraft Rankin Bass fantasy Last Unicorn. That year also saw the Western debut of Rainbow Bright, Deke's collaboration with US and Japanese studios. Classics of world literature have always attracted Japanese audiences and created interesting rebound market in which children watch their culture's stories, interpreted by foreign artists, then redubbed into their native tongues. Little El Kid was shown in Spain and France in 1981, with Les Mis in France, Les Miserables in France the same year. Monkey Punch's Lupin III has enjoyed huge success in France and Italy since 1985, and Rose of Versailles sold the French Revolution back to France. Scandinavian stories have charmed European children in Japanese versions, including Niels' Mysterious Journey and Auntie Spoon, Spoon a Bossan. We just released that with Discotheque. Less success awaited in Finland, where Moomins met with criticism from its original author, and Katri the Milkmaid, based on a Finnish children's book, was never broadcast at all. Meanwhile, Hayao Miyazaki's fascination with all things exotically European, including Italian airplanes, Scandinavian cities, Welsh miners, miners, and Welsh writers, has helped to make his work popular across the continent. Anime has enjoyed success across East Asia, even in countries such as South Korea, where Japanese associations and imports were discouraged. Doraemon in particular became a local icon in Korea and Taiwan. Indonesian broadcasters feigned a complete lack of interest in Japanese television programming, only to find themselves screening it by proxy when they bought the supposedly American series of Robotech and G-Force. Anime's popularity in East Asia also led to a rise in the piracy of animated titles. This was particularly prevalent in Taiwan, which was not a member of the UN, and hence not a signatory to several important copyright conventions. Pirate editions of both anime and manga built entire publishing industries in many East Asian countries, in a boom that ironically worked to the advantage of the Japanese. In Korea, where Japanese imports were banned until the 1990s, since anime and manga did not officially exist, they were not subjected to strict government censorship. For transgressive Korean youths, the best way to annoy their parents was to become an anime or manga fan. In other parts of Asia, most notably Taiwan and Hong Kong, the tsunami of cheap, unlicensed Japanese material springing into the market as fully formed serials and tie-in comic stories, often with merchandise and gaming spin-offs already present, undercut and outperformed many local artists, stifling native talent and leaving local comics and animation industries far behind the Japanese. Although there are numerous local talents and creators today, many East Asian creators find themselves pressured or steered into drawing pseudo-manga in imitation of the now legal Japanese titles which so dominate the medium. In the 1980s, as the exponential expansion of TV channels created still more demand for cheap programming, American television saw Go Nagai's 1972 hit Mazinger Z and Queen of a Thousand Years, it's the Leiji one, Queen Millennia, I think, 2 hybrid series were created by splicing several entirely unrelated Japanese originals into a new American entity. Force 5 and Robotech not only filed syndication schedules, but also sold robot toys to American boys with great success. Television before the general availability of the home video recorder had a captive audience. Viewers were unable to time shift in order to follow their favorite programs, a limitation networks could exploit with repeat showings. Just as the video recorder put an end to the cinema theater rescreenings of, quote, favorite anime episodes in Japan, it also made it possible for Japanese television to travel to America without the need to pass through a broadcaster. I want to keep looping that particular, this track is so goated, I have to tell you. I'm going to keep have it playing with this. I am very much enjoying this article, by the way. This is fucking fascinating. It's a lot that I kind of already knew, but the consolidation of all of it and the consideration of the entire world is really fantastic and thorough and interesting. And no contempt, no blighting, no... just is what it is, you know? It's really good. Legend has it that anime first entered America through science fiction fandom on the East and West coasts, where a large Japanese immigrant community, anime broadcasts on Japanese language local television, and a strong science fiction audience combined to make convention screenings, with and without translations, a possibility. Behind the scenes, certain anime companies were active collaborators in this supposed grassroots movement. Okay, here's a little contempt, because they're just kind of like, it was on TV for decades, dude, what the fuck. Some of the first convention screenings used VCR or even 16mm prints donated by Japanese agents. The rise of the household VCR brought a new market into being, although some might argue that the combination of video cassette and personal computer was a deadly genie that the anime industry has been unable to shut stuff back into its bottle. Thanks to the Amiga and much later to PCs and Macintoshes, it was now possible to add amateur subtitles or fan subs to anime videos, rendered easier in America than in Europe, through the fact that Japan and the US shared the NTSC video format. Fan subs were soon circulating unofficially and helping to build demand for Japanese animation in cult TV circles. The 1990s saw the return in syndication of serials first screened in the previous 3 decades, most notably the early morning screenings of Speed Racer on MTV, which would in turn lead to a prominent Speed Racer poster seen on the wall of the apartment in the sitcom Friends. Also screened in 1995 were Battle of the Planets in new variants and Ronin Warriors, a test for later screenings of Dragon Ball and Sailor Moon, with the new Technoman. With the newer Technoman. This did not result in spectacular ratings, but American licensing company Funimation persevered with a further series, Dragon Ball Z. A new Cartoon Network slot, Toonami, aired in March 1997, bringing back old US and Japanese shows like Thundercats and Voltron, and 1998 saw the arrival in America of Nintendo's latest Japanese merchandising gambit, Pokemon. Pokemon was followed by Digimon and Monster Rancher, setting the scene for a new millennium of exploitation, not merely through television, but through merchandising and tie-ins, in imitation of the model already in place in Japan. At first traded via the convention circuit and the existing network of anime fan clubs, copies of anime found even wider circulation as Americans accessed the internet and created an unregulated, fast-moving market in information and goods. At a time in the 1990s when there might have been only 100 anime fans per state, internet access helped establish virtual communities in order to encourage interest in the medium. As a predominantly young, tech-savvy internet group, many with access to computers at home or college, anime fans were also able to use the internet for the preparation and distribution of fan subs in unprecedented quantities. The prevalence of unlicensed translations has been a subject of unending debate within the American anime business. Many industry employees admit to an early interest fostered by fan subs and argue that fan subs often function as free samples that encourage a later purchase or rental. However, fan subbing is also, undeniably, open to extreme abuse. And regardless of the motives of many fansubbers to popularize a medium they love, the phenomenon creates ready-made materials for video pirates prepared to sell fansubs for personal profit. Consequently, what was once deemed a harmless activity, not unlike borrowing a book from a friend, has escalated into a multi-million-dollar copyright infringement industry, and one which has periodically led companies to litigate against persistent offenders. The arrival of BitTorrent and other peer-to-peer file-sharing systems has made it even easier to obtain anime without paying for it. Fandom itself, legal, illegal, or in the gray area of fan subbing, which is illegal but often overlooked, remains an influential, informal distribution channel for anime. With weekend attendances often climbing into 5 figures, the convention circuit has formed its own microculture, effectively unionizing consumers. Some anime companies, particularly those whose sales rely on titles popular only in fandom rather than with the general public, often present a friendly brand identity at conventions by sending representatives to announce new releases and to deflect criticism. Such trips can make or break smaller releases. They would have a negligible effect on a major distributor like Buena Vista, but 1,000 fans reaching for their wallets in a single weekend can make the difference between profit and a loss for titles aimed at the otaku market. The precise power of fandom is a paradox. Some argue that fandom is small and insignificant, and that, for example, fansubbing consequently represents a negligible loss in business when set against its promotional value. Others claim that fandom's power is so great that companies should obey its every contradictory whim, which would suggest that fansubbing and internet downloading represents a significant danger to anime's increased profitability abroad, and hence the future of the foreign language anime business itself. Since piracy is by its very nature shadowy, it is difficult to determine what difference it makes to the anime business. Since piracy is by its very nature shadowy, it is difficult to determine what difference it makes to the anime business. An experiment in late 2009 and early 2010, digitally fingerprinting 21 new anime titles. In an experiment in late 2009 and early 2010, digitally fingerprinting 21 new anime titles and tracking their progress through informal distribution channels revealed that the objects were copied 25,000 times and viewed 28.7 million times, suggesting that the potential overseas market for anime may be up to 20 to 30 times larger than it currently is, so long as nobody has to pay for anything. The question of how many of these viewers would or could be transformed into paying customers remains a matter of prime discussion within the anime industry. As anime moves into its 7th decade in the US, science fiction and fantasy remain the dominant genres, with animated pornography gaining a higher profile than in its home market. A Japanese origin is no longer hidden from viewers, but boldly, sometimes falsely, proclaimed, particularly in cases where American networks are involved directly with a Japanese studio. There is also a relatively small theatrical market, which was bolstered when Spirited Away won the Oscar for Best Feature Animation in 2002, but which remains a mere fraction of the kind of numbers commanded by Hollywood big hitters such as Pixar and DreamWorks, and that is still pretty much the case today. We do have anime reaching the top 10 of the weekends, various weekends, so it's certainly not insignificant, but it is, a fraction. Very niche, still. As we write in 2014, anime is screened regularly on TV and sold for home viewing, not just in America, but also in every part of Europe, including its eastern borders. Poland and Russia have embraced Japanese cartoons with as much enthusiasm as their Western neighbors, with foreign companies now eagerly buying the rights to new anime. Still often before they are even made, the new frontier for the Japanese industry is now China, a vast territory of 1 billion potential fans on the cusp of a digital switchover, many already acquainted with the medium through viewings of Sino-friendly anime like Ranma 1/2 and China No. 1. However, anime is currently largely absent from Chinese television, with import quotas still going, so I'm going to repeat it again. Sheesh. With import quotas now strictly legislating even against corporate co-productions. Naruto and Detective Conan might win slots among the paltry 35 foreign films permitted annually in Chinese theaters, but viewing their TV incarnations is often possible only through access to pirated material. Broadcasting's increasing reliance on direct downloads and the internet has presented many anime companies with the opportunity to cut out numerous middlemen. We're almost done. The future of anime may well rest on hard drives and mobile phones, with foreign language versions released simultaneously, or as near as makes no difference in the case of Kurokami, in order to minimize the potential losses through fan subbing and piracy. This, however, creates new issues in overseas distribution. The potential for increased revenue from direct sales may well be offset by the increased headache caused by the loss of the echelon of foreign middlemen, forcing anime's Japanese producers to confront issues such as localization in multiple languages, or the expense and clearance of music rights in multiple territories. While a global day-date release for an anime is theoretically possible, it's happened. The concerns of multiple cultures, multiple clearances, and multiple translations would be sure to radically skew it away from the anime it might otherwise have been if initially aimed solely at the Japanese market. Their argument at the end there is to imply that shows like Devilman Crybaby or Cyberpunk Edgerunners, which, I get it, it's video game adaptation, it would make them less anime? Radically skewed away from the anime it might have otherwise been. In a good way or in a bad way. It just would be different. Just like how decades and just general technology, the Digipaint anime are different from cell anime. But that's just what it is. Let me read the chat finally. Anime was huge in France and Italy. Anime was popular in Europe, South Africa, a decade before it took off in the States. Yeah, Gold Rock features French food. It's pretty crazy how popular it is. Main reason series like Saint Seiya still get merchandise is because of international popularity. Western Encyclopedia entries were as good as their articles. People always forget about the rest of the world when it comes to localization. Terminally online users who complain about Crunchyroll subs have no idea. Yeah. It does get a bit annoying when people assume the world only loves what's popular in the States. I mean, most of the world doesn't even know what Fully even is. I mean, that's only really a thing for people who only consume anime online. People who watch anime on TV could probably tell you what was actually popular. The US or other countries, that goes for any place in the world, yeah. No one has seen a sensual phrase in the US because the only English sub release is trapped in 2240p quality and unlistenable sound. But it's a popular show. What countries like it? I think one of my friends who watched it when she was little was from the Philippines. Wow, Kurokami, that's a show no one thinks about. I met a fellow friend in college who told me that Yu Hakusho and Hunter x Hunter are DBZ tier popular in their country. Japan might be less willing to make niche transgressive works if they aim for an international audience. Not against works doing that, but I don't want them all aiming for mass appeal. Yeah, I think that's fair. At the same time, Devilman Crybaby is pretty, I think it was both a faithful adaptation of Gonagai's work, who is, as niche and transgressive if you can get. Yeah, popular, obviously, but, like, the dude's an acquired taste, right? I think their piracy take is perfectly level-headed. I was happy they didn't say anything really eyebrow-raising or cringe. I don't know what you guys felt, but I think that was a fair assessment. I don't want to have too much disagreements with anything. And I think for me, as I guess my perspective, my take really kind of was more or less when discussing piracy in my you should buy anime video is that the value of buying an anime on Blu-ray and, you know, supporting these releases officially is for valuable work to be done that fans are very rarely going to do themselves. The culture has shifted where fan subbers are pretty much only targeting the stuff that's not getting licensed. Now that Crunchyroll, like, piracy's still a problem, but now they're just taking the subs that Crunchyroll made and just putting it out for people who don't want to watch it on Crunchyroll for whatever reason. Be that don't want to pay for it, or even a moral stance because they just don't want to support Crunchyroll for whatever, even though they're watching their subs. And that's its own issue, right? Because that does take a noticeable chunk out of the business. It has upsides, yeah, and I think it's delusional to say it doesn't have downsides. I think it's copium to say that it's completely morally correct. You need nuance. Anything like this needs nuance. And that's not me taking one side or another. That's just like, I want everything to be thought of that way, that it's a complicated issue. That there is positive benefits to piracy. There are also negative aspects to piracy. And whether one wins out or the other in the end depends on the battle, you know? The article ended right as I finished driving, pretty much, well, perfect timing. Yeah, I'm happy that worked out. Very interesting article. I've actually helped on some fan-subbing projects, mostly series nobody's heard of, but still it's an industry. Yeah, and to me, what's exciting about the current climate for fan subbers is that now they really only are working on stuff that still isn't getting an official distribution. Toku series, kids shows, because unfortunately the television model no longer really works. It's still around, but it's not nearly the kind of powerhouse that they were describing back in the 60s and 70s and 80s. It's just not. And it's unfortunate because there are some of these series that would be fantastic to show to kids. Fantastic. I would want my kids to watch Ojimajidoremi. But I'm not sure if I would want to show them the 4Kids version. Especially because the 4Kids version is not in good quality. It's like a fucking TV rip in clips or something. You know? And it's not even all of it. But like, they're not going to watch it subtitled, man. I'm sorry. I'd love to buy anime on physical, but I'd also like to eat. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's just that I don't know if they really mentioned it, but the fact that, you know, the market that they're targeting here are not necessarily the most flush with cash. You know, when you're selling something, I'm not a fucking business expert, but when you're selling something to keep in mind is who you're selling it to and whether they have money to buy it. Because if it's expensive, but it's for people that don't have money, I think you're only going to get so far. I feel like logic kind of only dictates that, right? So, I mean, yeah, all of us are broke. And to me, anime being free, even though it was illegal, but it was, to me, I was able to get it for free. That was the reason that I moved to anime over video games. I think that's why so many of us are addicted to YouTube. Because it's a free website. The internet may not be free, but you kind of need internet to live at this point. I know, obviously, plenty of people live without it, but come on. And YouTube's free. And Twitch is free. TikTok is free, but when it's free, I know when the product is free, you are the product. Except apparently if it's pirated material, then it's just free. I'm not saying it should be. But I mean, it's had a positive impact on my life. But, and I really just, at this point, I do it merely obligation-wise. I don't have any moral incentive to it. I kind of have the series I'm interested in watching, and if it's on Crunchyroll, I'll watch it on Crunchyroll. And heck, I'll prioritize series that are on Crunchyroll because it's just easier to watch on Crunchyroll. And see, it's not easy to watch on like Kiss Anime or something, because it just wasn't. I used it for years, but like, obviously, eventually, you know. And then I also got a job, like a regular job, so I was able to pay $5 a month to not just have Crunchyroll, but like download offline episodes and stuff, and yeah, it's improved my life dramatically. And I also don't have to, I don't know, long ass series, forget it. I also put interviews on the DVD or Blu-rays from staff who the average person would not be able to contact. Without fan subbers, most of the Tazaki stuff would be still being accessible. I buy the shows I like, but first I have to watch them to know if I like them or not, and I find ways. It's an individual decision. How most of Shoei Aikawa's written anime is also subbed. We're only missing 2. A lot of idol stuff is getting subbed. A lot of old Japanese live-action shows, kid shows. I'm too poor to buy much anime physically, but I also recently realized Dead Leaves DVDs are still in print, apparently. Now, and only like $10, so yeah. 4Kids Doremi is way too dumbed down. I think kids will feel like they're being talked down to. I rarely even buy video games at full price anymore. I mean, you have ROMs and stuff with video games, but I don't think it's as widespread as anime streaming, because you have a thing to play it on and find the ROM online. Tons of people pirate new releases for video games too. I mean, as a kid, cable and fast internet became more of a necessity with each passing day. What's going on? Hello, Bob. I just finished reading their article on overseas distribution and piracy. It was pretty good. 9am be wild in these days, though. Yeah. It helps with most ROMs. The original devs aren't being paid for them anymore. And, you know, it's also just like, yeah, I don't want anybody to profit off of this shit. I think they gotta be paid for their work if they did labor. But torrenting is not labor. It's not laborious. I think there could be maybe like, oh, encoding and getting the physical, like buying the, you know, buying the actual disc itself to then put on the internet or something. But like even then, no. I think translators deserve some compensation for the work they do. But, you know, if only they could do it in an official capacity in a way that sustains them and actually makes them a living. Because you cannot currently do that with Crunchyroll. There are some avenues where you could, but they mostly go to video games at this point. Video game actually plays well, apparently. But even our series, like, you know, when we release a series for the first time in the United States, we have to get all of that translated. And so we go through proper channels, and I don't know for sure, but I assume we pay them pretty handsomely. But you see that valuable work, right? And see, and the thing is, now that they're official subs that were legally made in this official capacity, it doesn't have to be done again. Like, yeah, fan subs exist and everything, and it's a shame that, you know, we released something that people were in the middle of fan subbing. It could happen. But what I was gonna say is that then means that they can use those subs for future releases, and it makes it effectively making the license cheaper or less costly, because you have to pay for the you don't have to pay for the subs anymore. You can just get it from the previous disc, is what I'm saying. Side note: Rare's founders have teased that they might dump the Conquer 64 beta when the game wasn't M-rated. Imagine how well translators will be paid when AI starts doing it. Ubisoft's already doing that. Well, in that case, I hope their quality checkers get paid well. Because ain't no way. I mean, maybe some way. Maybe they would. Maybe they fucking would. Cheapskates. Fucking bums. But at least maybe they're... Look, it's tedious work. And if AI means more stuff gets translated, and then those people get to do other things that could be just as valuable, I'm not saying move to a different job. You know? Translating's kind of a bitch. It's kind of a hard work, you know? And if it streamlines their process, and not to eradicate them completely, I know that's the fear, but God, if it means that they don't have to do the easy shit, if they don't have to fucking translate hi as yes every time, like, they can take care of the bulk, and then the translator can focus on, like, this one line that's like, what the fuck are they saying? If it has to be by ear, for example. Which a lot of these have to be, unfortunately. At least for anime. And they can just focus on the hard parts. It would happen much faster, and maybe that means they get paid less because of less hours or something, but then pay them the same amount. Pay them a higher rate. But it just gets done faster, ideally. I don't know. I'm against pirating new games because then you're stealing money from hardworking devs. Ubisoft already doing that. Ubisoft hasn't made a good game in years, so this is expected. Your should you buy anime videos actually what got me to join a fan subgroup. I've had a blast so far. That's encouraging. Hell yeah. Because it just means, because I said it in that video, I don't care how this work gets done. I just want it to get done. And to me, the legal channels are the best route of doing that. And that's not to discourage fan subs. Machine translation is pretty good for manga. I have tried translating some stuff, and it's pretty easy to rewrite the text into actual human speech. In theory, AI tools could help translation, but let's face it, that's not why companies want this tech. Yeah, of course. Of course they don't, you know. Increase profit margins, but there's way more insidious shit that companies are doing. Like, did you see the thing with eggs? How, like, they just got an increased profit of, like, 718% or some shit because of inflation. They just increased the price of eggs. And oh look, we profited more. Yeah, no shit. Like, that's just gonna happen regardless. Company's gonna profit. And that's not to say that they should do that or continue to do that. I'm just saying that, like, this is in their nature. This is a Scorpion. I highly recommend The Age of Easy Money. It's a Nightline documentary. This completely put me in perspective of what the fuck has been going on with our economy since the financial crisis and everything. This has been, I just recommend this. It's like a, you know, frontline documentary, but it was just like really well edited, and I enjoyed it. I recommend it. But it what they talk about is like this, it's in a Scorpion's nature. You're gonna give them this this tool or this, you're going to do this to the economy, and banks are not going to be benevolent and do the thing you want them to do. They're going to do things to increase their own profits and stuff their pockets. They gave themselves bonuses in the financial crisis because of the shit that the bailout. Scorpion's nature. You should see what the egg industry does with male chicks. No thanks, Bob. I appreciate the offer, but no thanks. I don't even eat eggs that much, to be honest with you. I'm not even. That was just a stat that I saw. But my diet consists of cereal, banana, and protein bar for breakfast. Egg, like a frozen pre-packaged frozen sausage, egg, and cheese. 2 of those, like a pocket thing for lunch, along with some meatballs and something else. Video unavailable. Aww. It's from PBS. I don't know if they block it in other regions. Shame. Couldn't tell you. It's called the Age of Easy Money. I don't know if anyone would like upload it elsewhere. It infuriates me that loot boxes are being aimed at children. Hopefully kids know how insidious this stuff is. Hopefully. I don't know. Bro, Clement's anime history book is getting a 2nd edition at the end of the year. Just found out yesterday. Yeah, I was hearing people talking about it. I'll probably read it. I'll probably pick it up and read it. I haven't seen the 1st edition myself, but I think I'll support the release. I find it interesting. We're wondering if it's just going to be kind of like adding on about Shinkai. And we'll see how much they... I don't know. Well, it'd be interesting to see how much it changes. Remember when people went nuts over Elder Scrolls Horse Armor? That was tame compared to how bad microtransactions are now. Yeah. Well, it's capping on 3 hours, fellas. Use a VPN then. All right, cool. It's capping on 3 hours, so I'm gonna turn it off. Stop. And I'll see you Tuesday. Possibly. We'll see. Yeah. Probably. Yeah. For P, we're keeping it going. Thank you guys so much for coming. I really appreciate it. Yo, peace.